Welcome back to you, the viewer. You're listening, watching, the Ollie Skelton show that everybody rates. The acronym for that is Tosser. This is the Tosser podcast, and we're doing a solo episode today. We're doing a solo ep. So no, I haven't joined a cult. This is my house. I don't choose the decor. It's a tight ship run by none other than Captain Tani Cook. So this is where we're rocking with today. You're listening to a solo episode. So if you've gotten here, you're a true fan, and I appreciate that. But we obviously need someone to bounce off. We need someone that is just a character. And I was fortunate enough to stumble across this gentleman back in March at a pub. This gentleman by the name of Tommy. Welcome, Tommy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ollie.
So this is producer Lloyd, not a guest. Okay, this isn't the guest. Unfortunately, we don't have a guest, but Lloyd is here. Lloyd is here. He's like,
I'm trying.
He's here
to fill the boots.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. One thing that we do on the show is called the Hottie Hotline.
This is Sarah.
If maths were doing like a bit of an experiment, if they were trialing a throuple, would you be part of it? Would you experiment with that?
I don't understand threesomes. I don't understand, what is it called? Polyamorous relationships. My reason as to why I don't get it. You never are like, I like this person and this person the exact same amount. It could never be like that, right? It's always like, well, I like this person more. I'm not sure if the fragility of my ego could take being second fiddle, essentially you're being left out, third wheeling.
Or who do you think would make a great throuple from last year's season?
Oh, okay. Great question.
That was also from Sarah.
I was giving all the kudos to you then. I thought you were doing
No, I don't want to take Sarah's thunder.
Okay, I like that. I would say...
Can I say from a viewer's perspective?
Please.
I'm thinking Harrison.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Dan.
Okay.
Some big boys.
Okay, so I was thinking that, right? But then I think there's too much...
Oh, too much macho going on.
Too much alpha energy, right? I think you need I reckon this may have worked. This is one that I think would have worked. I think Cam, Hugo, and Lyndall. Because...
But Cam and Lyndall didn't work out. Right,
but I think Cam is a very lovable dude. But he's from the outback. He doesn't like, he's not getting in the fields. It's new to him. He's country larrikin, right? It's not really encouraged from where he's. I want to set the record. I think Cam he's a fucking good dude. The problem with the show is that you can easily be. It's a reflection of who you are in a relationship, not necessarily who you are as a person. And there's some really great qualities with Cam, but he's a bit of a larrikin, right? And doesn't like to get into the fields. And then you've got Hugo, aware of his emotions. And I think that means Lyndall would have got the best of both worlds from each partner.
Okay, I like it. I can see where you come from.
Boom.
I think that's pretty good, actually.
Great question, Sarah. Thank you. Who else we got?
Okay, so our next one is from Casey.
What up, Casey?
Hey, Ollie. I am super curious to know if Lewis Capaldi also follows anyone from your season of maths. I've just recently noticed he follows Harrison Boone, and I'm now curious to know if he's a big maths fan or if he's just tuned in for this season, or what's the story?
Lewis Capaldi is followed by 7 million people in the world. 7 million people. He follows 700 people. He follows Harrison Boone. Now I vet these. Obviously I look them up before before the people call in. I said, what the... So I messaged the Boonster. And let me read these out. I messaged the Boonster. And I say, as if you got Lewis Capaldi following you. He said, bro, he keeps calling me. And then he showed me a screenshot of Lewis Capaldi out of Bucks and they've got a cardboard cutout of the Boonstar.
At this Bucks party that Lewis Capaldi's at.
Correct. Booney, Harrison, whatever you like to call him, says, ha ha ha, throw darts at it. Lewis Capaldi says, no, it will stay protected.
What in the... That is the strangest combination I've ever heard in my life, I think.
Dude, I love it. I love it. And I think for Harrison, that should make it all worthwhile. The whole thing, you got Lewis Capaldi, dude, the king of memes. Boonster fan.
So do you know what his obsession is with Harrison?
I didn't even know the dude watched maths.
So you have no clue why he's just picked Harrison.
700 people in the world Lewis Capaldi follows.
It's not even that, he's calling him as well.
Calling him. And this is from yesterday, their conversation. Let's get some other names of who Lewis Capaldi follows. Theo Von, George Ezra, Jack Harlow, very successful people. There's a 1 degree of separation where Lewis Capaldi loves Miley Cyrus and loves Harrison Boone. And you know what? Harry, you should be leveraging that, my guy. Hey, random Australian single mother of 2 living in Brunswick. Is that a place?
I think so.
Yeah. May hate Harrison Boone. Lewis Capaldi does not. Food for thought there. Food for thought.
Seems far from it.
Is that not the craziest thing?
That is so rare. That is so rare.
What else you got?
Okay, next one is from Lani. She says it's saucy.
Hello, Ollie. Big fan. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your podcast. I would love to know your opinion on the Mel versus Claire drama at the moment going on. I've heard that there was a divide between the girls in the maths experiment, but that was never portrayed. So I would love to hear a bit more about what it was actually like on the experiment and if all the girls got along or if there was a divide. Yeah, it would be great to hear what you have to say about that. Thank you so much.
Personally, I think I can only speak to this from my experience, right? And my experience comes in not being involved in the girl drama. 2 different sexes had their own inner politics, I would say. From the aspect, I can only speak to what happened to Tani throughout the experiment, and I would say that there was a lot of times that Tani felt ostracized from the group, and something that you can't speak to all relationships with girl groups, but I think at times there can be a somewhat of a pattern of behavior where it's all done in very shadow play. It's like there's nothing overt in the isolation of someone. And I think that can actually be the worst form of isolation. When you don't know where you stand with a person and you don't know the reason as to why you don't stand in a good position with them. I think it continues to change the team lineups in who is off who. And so when it comes to the Claire and Melinda drama, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that that there is isolation felt on a certain side. And the reason why it doesn't surprise me is because I've seen it firsthand with my partner. But I'll tell you one thing that I hate the most, right? If somebody doesn't like you and they say they don't like you, depending on the person, you could be like, that sucks. What shits me is when somebody is nothing but nice to your face and then their actions, who they give time of day to, what they do, like little stuff, that's what pisses me off the most, because inauthenticity shits me the most. Two-face shits me the most. Trying to play both sides shits me the most. And I think, and it's like, I feel like as a partner, I'm like I get very defensive about somebody taking advantage, I would say taking advantage of my partner. And it's kind of always been that way, even with like my immediate family. Like when I think somebody is being like taken for a run, that shits me the most. It's all well and good if you don't like someone to say, I don't like you, and then you know where you stand with that person. But for you to make it seem like everything's okay, and then through the grapevine, all this stuff gets back to them. That's what shits me the most. So there's.
Would you say that was regular on the show?
I'd say it's regular in the aftermath of the show, but disingenuous, inauthenticity is what shits me the most in terms of how people treat certain people in the aftermath of the show. And I'll say this: if you think I'm talking about you, I'm talking about you.
Alrighty. Shall we go on to our last question? I'm Team Melinda as well, by the way. Alrighty. This is Ella. She with a squid on the end.
And my question for you, Ask Me Anything, is if you didn't get married at first sight, where do you think you would be now?
Wow.
What would you be doing with your day-to-day life?
Great question.
And I will say this, Ella is the Tosser podcast's #1 fan. I've bestowed that upon her.
Is she a patron?
She is a Patreon.
Okay.
Shout out Patreon/Tosser podcast, patreon.com/Tosser podcast. A lot of great content there, by the way. That's the narcissist in me there, just toot my own horn. But her question, what would I be doing? So just before I was finished, for everybody that doesn't know, I am a voiceover artist, but it was making about 40% of my income. My other 60%, I was slinging ads. Voiceovers is a lucrative game if you find the sweet spot.
Yeah, right.
And so I think that I always had a dream about working from Bali and doing ads there. Cheap rent.
See it on social media a lot. Actually.
Yeah, cheap rent. And then having a good little villa and my own pool. Somebody to clean my mess up because God knows that's an issue for me. And so yeah, that's where I think I would. That's where I think I would have been. I would have been doing voiceovers in Bali. That's what I think. That's where I was working to. So there's a couple of really popular ads that are only for the WA audience. Are ones that people would know. So #1 is I used to do the Murdoch University ad. So that's one of the big 4 or 5 unis in Perth.
Can I ask, how much do you get paid to do this?
So, okay. So the Murdoch one, I probably worked about 10 hours for it. There was a lot of TV. There was a lot of radio that I did. And I got paid, I reckon, probably about 17.
Wow.
Yeah, about 17 gross. Wow. And then, so the Murdoch one went a little something like this. Think all science degrees are the same? Think again. Just ask Alex. She's studying marine science at Murdoch University. Her thinking led her to the bottom of the ocean to find ways to protect our habitats.
That's insane. That is so good. That is so professional.
Thank you. So another one that I did was I used to do regional Channel 9, would you believe? Before I got the gig, they had no idea because it was all freelance. Yeah. Probably if I did if they did know that I worked for, I did something. Oh no, they probably would have been fine with it. But it's a little bit, how you going? How's your father? And that one went like, you're watching Channel 9. I did Ben's Original Rice. So it's like when they made the change from Uncle Ben's, it was like, we're changing our look. And then it was like, but still that same great rice.
So one of those takes how long? Like that's like literally a sentence or two.
It depends.
Because to me, that doesn't sound like.
Do you want to? Can I tell you a funny one? Right, I might get in trouble for this. I might get in trouble for this. So, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, were recording. So they were doing a last year they did a world tour. They did an Australia tour. Do you remember this?
I did. I actually went.
You went.
I went.
Featuring Post Malone.
Yeah,
I did that ad.
Oh, really?
Red Hot Chili Peppers featuring Post Malone.
Wow. Jeez.
So funny story about that one, right? I got paid a G. I got paid $1,000 to do it.
Right.
I got paid $1,000 to do it. And I had to get it to them the morning, like the 6 a.m. in the morning. And I was drunk. I was drunk the night before. I was absolutely ripped. Like I won an 11-leg multi.
And you knew you had to produce this.
I knew it was going to take me 5 minutes.
Right.
So
yeah, but did you know who your client was?
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers. So anyway, so I get in the booth. It's like 12:10 in the morning, and I'm absolutely ripped. And I go like, the Red Hot Chili Peppers coming to Australia, August 2022. And only I can hear in my voice the drag of like some of the words.
Right. The slur.
Yeah. So they ask for they say, oh, could you just redo Australia? It seems like you fall over the line a little bit. It's like, mate, that's not the only thing I was falling over during that time period. But yeah, so I did that one. And that one got played for months and I would always hear it. Even when I was on the show, I heard it.
So did you regret doing it drunk? Or?
No, it was great. It's a great read. If anything, my inhibitions were a little bit lowered.
Yeah.
Sorry, Red Hot Chili Peppers. But look, it's probably on brand. They're party boys, no? And Post Malone, featuring Post Malone. It's funny, yeah. So there you go. So we went to the Logies over the weekend. Very weird experience because you don't feel like you belong at the Logies, do you? We didn't even watch it from the auditorium. We had to go to a separate viewing room.
Oh, that's a bit degrading, isn't it?
So degrading. And when you got Sam Peng freaking absolutely deconstructing you. Roast. Then he's like, and to all the maths people at table 50, this will be your last ever Logies. That's quite funny. We weren't even at table 50. We weren't allowed to be there.
So where were you taken to?
Some bloody like little fish joint. It was beautiful. It was fine, but I was watching it on the television.
Oh, so you might as well have just stayed home.
Might as well have just stayed home. But, you walk down the red carpet and it's just so weird.
So who are the names that you were rubbing shoulders with on the red carpet?
Dude, as I'm turning to begin my walk down the red carpet, so lame to say, but who do I see? Lloyd. BT. Who else is there? Eddie Betts. Yeah, it was so weird. And then you get asked it. People are asking you for interviews.
How many interviews did you ask for?
Maybe 6.
Oh, wow.
In what authority do I have to do an interview on the Logies? No, it was weird. You feel really out of place. It feels very abnormal. But it's and I was trying the whole time, right? I was trying to think to myself. I was like, just soak it in, bro. Just soak it in because it's never going to happen again. You got Dr. Chris Brown. I love that he puts doctor in front because he's like, I don't want to be associated with that. Julia Morris. And so then it gets... Now, one thing that we were invited to was the after party. I was like pushing pushing past the curtain and looking in. And it's awesome. It's exactly what you think it would be.
All right, so give us some names that were like really just rowdy people.
Who was a bit rowdy? Eddie Betts was a bit rowdy. Eddie Maguire stayed late. At one point, I'm dancing in between Grant Denyer and G-Flip, the singer. Come on, G-Flip. Surprisingly enough, he was at the front of the dance floor, which you would expect a man of that stature to be.
Yeah.
G-Flip in the middle. Mel McLaughlin off to the side. She's having a boogie.
Okay.
Eddie Maguire's not boogieing, he's watching. That's pretty much true to form, right?
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty. Did you see a fellow guest on the podcast, Matt, at the Logies?
I saw Matt, and I felt bad for Matt because I think he was like, Matt's a part of the fraternity. Matt's a part of the Logies fraternity.
Yeah.
He won a Logie that night. Home and Away did. I think they won 2.
Wow.
It was Channel 7, so. I mean, Amy Shark won Best New Talent for Australian Idol. You know how many people watch Australian Idol? My mum. About it. You know how many people watch Australian Idol? 1 billion 10 years ago. So Amy Shark to win that.
Controversial, is that what you're saying?
Very controversial.
Okay.
And then Flex Mammy, man. You know Flex Mammy?
Do I reckon if you showed me a photo, I reckon I'd probably know.
Educate yourself. Queen of pop culture.
So she should have won.
100%.
Did you tell her that?
I actually did. I commented on her thing before it was announced. I said, if not you, who? And I'll say this, right? I also want to break down Flex Mammy and how she reacted to winning. No, sorry, to losing. How she reacted to losing. How do people usually react when they don't win something?
Just like,
They got the camera on their face. How they react?
yeah, it's like a pity clap with a.
Pity clap. And I hate watching that because you can see their eye twitch for a second of how fucking annoyed they are. You know what Flex does? She goes,
Oh, but see, that's a great reaction.
I loved
That's what
it.
you want to see on TV.
I loved it
Not
because
people being fake.
Exactly. So shout out to Flex Mommy. She a real one. And she is like a mother. I want to say this. When I first met her was at Splendor in the Grass when we were doing something for Splendor. I was a little bit stressed. And I don't know if she just read my energy, but she starts doing these back strokes to me. How you going, baby? Starts doing these back strokes. Like just, like how your auntie does when you see her. And I was zenned out for the next fucking 40 minutes.
How old is?
Flex Mammy?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you, but she deserved to win most popular new talent. Amy Shark, you even know, dog. You even know. Whatever.
She's come for you.
Well, I wish you all the best. I tell you who I did see. Anthony the Blue Wiggle.
That's pretty cool. Not many people can say that they've.
And he was on the squirt. And
What is the squirt?
the booze.
Okay.
You don't get that? That's not an East Coast thing.
No, definitely not. The squirt. No.
So we have a great chat, me and Anthony the Blue Wiggle. And at the end of the chat, I say to him, I give him a hug. He gives me a nice embrace. And I whisper in his ear, thanks for everything.
That is so weird. He's probably creeped out completely by you now. God.
No good.
No, that's slightly concerning.
But in my mind, I was like,
God. You cannot be going around a 56-year-old dude saying that. That's it.
no, but look, he had a profound impact on my life. I'm sure he had somewhat of an impact on yours.
yeah.
You're 23, but I'm sure you caught the end of their era.
Yeah.
So I said, thanks for everything. And it felt weird. New segment, News with Lloyd.
but obviously you've had a big week trying to focus
Sure.
on your after party, trying to stay relevant at the Logies.
I
So
like that.
you
I like that
clearly-
little drive-by in between there.
You clearly didn't. But okay, so our first story, right? In the UK. And so someone has broken into an 87-year-old's woman's house, okay, at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's then decided to take off his trousers
Right.
and go up to this grandma,
Okay.
okay? And he has a knife with him, right? So he's got a knife, he's broken into the house.
Okay.
And then she said, well, she's obviously trying to defend herself.
Right.
And then she's ended up getting cut up on around her face and on her chin and stuff.
What the fuck is this new?
But so this is where it takes a turn. Okay, this is really weird. Okay,
Okay.
so obviously, what you'd think next? What do you think would happen next?
Dude gets arrested.
Well, he'd try and steal something, right? He's already just sliced up grandma.
Well, some people are just doing that for the thrill.
So he ends up telling her that he feels awfully hungry. And then she goes down to the pantry, gives him peanut crackers, tangerines, and protein drinks. And then says, okay, you're on your way. And then he leaves his shoes and knife there, walks down the street, gets arrested by the police dogs.
What? So how do we know the this is a great little job there, Lloyd.
Thank you.
So do we like how bad was she cut?
Oh, well, it just says like she like a few cuts around her face and like on her
Right.
chin or something.
Right. So this sounds, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a first crime. It sounds like the first time he's done this crime.
Why did the trousers have to come off there?
Oh, he took the trousers off.
He took his pants off
Before.
and then he went up to the grandma with a knife.
Oh my God. See, the problem is, right, this is what this sounds like, right? It sounds like one of those first crimes that people do. And then, so he was like, I don't know what I'm wanting to do. And then he gets there, he does a couple of stabs and he's like, I've got my fix and now I'm just exhausted. I'm a little bit hungry. But you got to feel for that lady. How terrified would you be getting this dude the tangerines?
Well, would you have given him food?
Hell yes. I'd give him the bloody keys to the car as well. Yeah, no, that's interesting, isn't it?
Alrighty, next news story.
Right.
4 African men.
Why?
I'm going around the grounds.
Why?
This is part of the story. They're from Nigeria. Very relevant to the story, actually.
Okay.
4 Nigerian men have been on a cargo ship leaving Nigeria. They thought it was going to Europe,
Right.
but they don't actually have tickets. They sat on the front of the cargo ship down the bottom.
Okay.
So like,
They snuck on.
yeah.
Right.
So surely we can get an image of what I'm talking about. So these 4 guys are sitting there at the front of the ship for 14 days, exposed to the water. And they're seeing like sharks and whales, and they've got no protection. End up with having...
Well, it's a bloody cargo ship. It's not like the freaking sharks are going to be jumping 50 meters.
No, but if there's a big wave...
I mean, true. Isn't the ship meant to, isn't the captain meant to be at the, can't he see the bow? Is it the bow?
Yeah, I think it is the bow.
The bow's at the front?
Yeah,
Can't he, I feel like the bow's at the back.
the stern. What?
I think like the stern's actually at the back.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, okay. So he can see surely he can see the bow of the boat. I'm just imagining these 4 men, humans on this earth, who cares about where they're from, going, like holding it, just going like this, sitting down.
Yeah, they're basically just like, squashed all next to each other.
Right.
So, and then
And look, it had no reference to the why not them being Nigerian. So that's really on you, Lloyd. And I got to say, bringing race into the show is not what we are about here at the Tosser podcast.
do not even pin that on me. But yeah, so after 10 days, they didn't have any water
Okay.
or food.
Right.
So they were just relying on the big old ocean.
Right. So where's the Nigeria?
That's where they were coming from,
Right.
because there's so much political unrest, and now we're getting too political.
All right. Well, we're dropping that story.
Okay, all right. So next story.
I'm joking, Lloyd.
This one's my favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's happened about a week ago. 4 blokes broken out of prison. They've done the old trusty, put the clothes in the under the blankets, and they've escaped.
Brilliant.
So I want to know if you end up going to prison, right?
Okay.
What would you actually end up going to prison for? Do you reckon?
I could see like it being like negligence, like something to do with my taxes.
Okay, all right.
What do you want? You want me
No.
to say freaking get him undies and like, cut an old grandma? Is that what you want me to say?
Okay, well that's a fair answer, I guess.
Okay. Well, come on. Where are we going?
But yeah. So 2 of them ended up getting caught.
Right.
One of them killed himself, and the other one's still on the loose. But my next question is:
Yeah.
you're in prison, right? You've done your tax, okay?
Okay.
How long? Like, when is the point where you go, all right, this is worth getting out for? Trying to escape. So you're trying to escape with your mates.
I don't think I would ever try. What's the point?
Well, if you've got life, then you've got nothing to live for. Obviously,
But can you not facilitate a good life in prison? Can you not have something worth? Like, look, it's in this world of life. It's you and your thoughts, right? And they stay with you wherever you go. So, if you get on a good relationship with them, I think you can have a good life, regardless of your surroundings. You could be in prison, but you could be somewhere completely different in the world.
So you would never risk trying to escape jail?
In 2023, let's say 2033, when it catches up to me, think about the scrutiny. Think about the CCTV cameras they got now. Think about what it's going to be like in 10 years when the pigeons, there's those pigeons running around with the cameras in. It's a theory. Well, I want to thank you. I think this is going to be a long one because I like some of the content in it. But look, if you've gotten here this far, why don't you check us out on the Patreon? We've got bonus episodes. I got a bonus episode with Rupert in there. I do weekly like mini podcasts. I think most recently I talked about hooking up with kissing a girl for the first time and how I did it on an oval as a grade cricket team we're watching.
How romantic.
Very romantic. And we got bonus episodes there that don't make the cut. But no, I want to thank you very much for listening to our first aired solo podcast with producer Lloyd. So big ups to Lloyd for doing that, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Daddy. Enjoyed it.
And make sure if you enjoyed this episode, rate it 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, I reckon we got a kick-ass guest. I can't tell you who. But yeah, stay tuned for that. God bless. Have a good one.